Welcome to the Real Estate Rundown. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to start off with this story. So a guy in San Diego used AI to sue the #1 owner of single-family residences across the U.S., which is Invitation Homes, and he won. They settled for $20 million. So what he did is he built a machine learning algorithm. He scanned building permits and discovered that Invitation Homes did a ton of unpermitted work on houses. Then he filed a qui tam lawsuit, which is a whistleblower lawsuit that basically allows any private citizen to file a lawsuit against a company that's defrauding the government. And if they win, he gets 50% of the damages. So Invitation Homes settled. The dude cleans house, makes millions of dollars.
What, $10 million payday?
So he trained an AI and got a $10 million payout, in short.
Yes.
Damn. Good
Did it
idea.
say what the time frame was, like when he started to the lawsuit being settled? I mean, was that like a couple of years?
You know, that's a great question.
That is a great question because I wouldn't think that the AI would have had that capability a couple years ago.
And see if I can find that out.
It seemed like it'd be a lot of work.
So they were making repairs without permits?
Yes.
Which is surprising to me. Invitation Homes is such a behemoth that how do they not have a contractor that oversees all their repairs and whatnot that go on in their places?
I mean, like you pretty much need a permit for everything. A lot of times you don't get one.
That's true.
Inside the house, like you take down a wall or something like that.
That is true. And a contractor could be doing the work. It's just not permitted.
Yeah, and he just says,
and that's a violation.
I'm not going to wait for a permit. So they just take down the wall and it's fine. I mean, who knows?
Okay, so he filed, so it was called the Blackbird Special Project LLC. And he filed in 2020. So this was a few years in the making. Okay, but let's
Project Blackbird.
Let's think about this here. If you're doing unpermitted work, who is that really hurting? I mean, yes, I get it that it's not supposed to be, you're not supposed to do it, but like.
It's not hurting the government.
Exactly. So
nor is it hurting the tenant. A lot of times it's improving the property and improving the enjoyment by the tenant.
Well, I guess it's hurting the government because they're not getting their money.
That's exactly what it's hurting. Yes.
Because that's really all permits are for is so they can get money.
It's a
tax.
It's a tax. It is a tax. I mean, it's filing paperwork.
You do want to make sure there's uniformity and safety and all of that, but clearly Invitation Homes isn't going to inspections. They're not going to do work that's not going to sustain the test of time because they're putting tenants in that house.
Absolutely.
But if I go to Scottsdale, I want to build a patio. Right?
As you stated, or go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
They don't ask you for plans or anything like that. They just want their money, and then they'll give you your permit.
True.
So it's not like they have like a set of rules, like here you got to do these things, but there's never inspections or anything like that. They just they want their money.
I don't know about that. I don't know about there's never inspections.
Well, sometimes there's inspections. It depends what they're building, like where you have to have like a site inspection with electrical or if it's a bigger project. But most of these, to Jay's point, they're probably very small projects to where it is just a money grab.
Jobs.
Yeah, a money grab. We'll take down this wall, which is non-load bearing, to open up the property. Yes. And therefore, by doing that, we have to change the flooring, paint, etc.
But when you're a publicly traded company like that, you gotta they're rolling the dice, right? They're rolling the dice. Like, we're gonna not get permits. I mean, who's gonna build a machine learning thing to find us?
Yeah, like who was this guy that thought
totally?
That,
and how did a machine learning know that? Like, I just don't understand that. How
because he trained it to look for permits filed on the property. And if they went and searched the property, but then I don't know how they could prove.
Cross-referenced, like maybe like properties being listed as rentals to verify or to see like what modifications were made to a property. Yeah, but as I say,
how did he prove that renovations happened?
Yeah.
Because that's the trick right there.
But insane. Like, this dude is insane. Who's he coming for next?
Hold on, though. Let's peel this back just one step further because, Jay, you said a huge nugget there. A publicly traded company, right? Think about all the demand that they have to have, right? Because if a property sits vacant too long, they can't be waiting for the permits, the slowdown, right? That's time is money. They're losing in those situations. They have to answer to their shareholders. And if things are sitting too long because they're waiting for permits, right? Like, talk about a catch-22 in this situation.
So I wonder if he's going to be doing this to, like, Open Door or OfferPad. Because I'm sure they've done their fair share of repairs without permits.
Attack all hedge funds,
Yeah.
right? In that situation, right? Amherst,
No,
Sylvan.
let's not go attack.
Yeah,
all hedge
let's
funds.
No,
not.
I'm not saying that. I am not saying that. I'm saying, is this guy going to go out and attack all of them?
Well, when I read this, I was floored. It was really late at night, and
Yeah,
like
it's
I was
pretty
like,
interesting.
Jason, you got to hear this. So this is insane.
That's why that is absolutely insane.
Dude, people are crazy impressive, like absolutely insane.
So that just settled this year.
yeah, they just settled it a couple
what
days
is that
ago.
about? Like $4 million a year worth, cumulative worth of
Yeah,
work?
not
A quick
about
$4 million
ROI.
a year. By the time you got his payout, or
A Quitam lawsuit, huh?
I don't even know what that was.
oh wait, no,
know.
'cause you said only got half, so he got
So
10 million.
You get 50% of the damages. So after it, I think he ended up. I think it said he would get.
About 10 million, right?
I don't know. It's
say.
fuzzy on what that actually ended up being, but it was millions.
Yeah.
Let's say the lawyers got $4 million. So
The lawyers always do well.
yes, they
Good for you.
Always get 20%.
Yeah. So interesting story. Let's shift gears because we've got an article we want to chop up. It's from Housing Wire. And we talked last week about how a Kamala Harris presidency could impact real estate. So let's shift gears because Housing Wire came out with the antithesis, which is how would a Donald Trump presidency impact real estate? So let's break it down.
Yeah, that second presidency. So this article shares that essentially Trump is going to focus on killing immigration or slowing immigration, which would obviously slow down the demand for housing, new builds.
So easy with your words of choice right there.
I know, right? Like,
That's right, yeah. I chose him right.
I'm just being silly.
Yeah. And then also he would impose tariffs, right? So that's the imports from like China, right? So we're talking wood, steel, nails, right? A lot of those types of things that he would impose tariffs on those types of companies. Concrete, yep. Yes, another huge one, obviously, like Mexico. So essentially that would cause the cost of these materials to go up. But Trump's in this article, he's counter saying that he's going to ease regulations. One of this article uncovered that a lot of the permits and things that we were just talking about is about 24% of the cost of new builds. When you really put that into play, that actually caught me by surprise. I mean, you know that they're there, but they're saying that it's 24% of the cost of actually building a property.
sizable.
That's wild.
That's sizable.
It's insane, right? And this writer is saying that could be a challenge for him because he's obviously a federal president, and these costs are imposed at the state or local level.
Yeah.
So
your local permits, the building permits,
yep,
water
yep.
permits.
Okay,
Yeah.
so raw materials may go up, but the cost to actually construct may go down.
May go down.
So is Housing Wire calling it a wash?
No, it seems like this, and of course, this is the interpretation of the writer of this Chin Zhao. She essentially, the way that I'm interpreting this, I mean, she's keeping it fairly neutral, but she's saying that there's definitely going to be some good that can come and some challenging that could come. Right now, my personal opinion on this is, as I read this, right, like immigration is a real issue, right? Like they're saying, like she almost writes about it in this, that immigration is a good thing because it's what's creating some of the booms because of all the demand for housing and those types of things.
But that's good. So all the prices go up because all the immigration.
That's exactly how I'm like,
your own citizens can't afford property.
Yeah, you're driving up prices by eating up the inventory. So I didn't necessarily agree with that. And then she does also touch on that if that demand slows and the tariffs are implemented, that it's highly likely that interest rates will go up. And they actually she says that, quotes Goldman Sachs, that it could go up as much as 130 basis points over the term at roughly 25 basis points, so a quarter percent of rate at each particular rate hike. However, they also say that if the cost that could be offset by some of the other things that he could bring into play. So it's really, to me, like we need to, like, this is what I love about Trump in this situation is we've already had 4 years of what happened, right? Especially, well, at least 3.5 because COVID and all the things that happened and just went haywire. And I'm a personal big believer of history a lot of times is the best predictor of the future.
And segueing off of that, let's take a quick look at historically what has happened right prior to an election cycle and after an election cycle.
Okay.
As far as the real estate market is concerned. So the first thing is, and we've talked about this before, interest rates tend to go down prior to an election. And so there's some data on that, which is really interesting. And it shows that interest rates do in fact go down prior to the election. In 8 of the past 11 elections, interest rates have went down prior to the election. And the only election cycles that it did not happen in were 1980, 1988, and 2016. So with the exception of those 3, in every other election cycle from 1980 on, interest rates have went down prior to the election.
So 16 was the Obama administration.
Switching to Trump.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trump won in 16.
Yep.
So the one who would have had more control was the Obama administration. 88 would have been, is that Reagan's second
So
term?
that
92,
92.
That would have been
Bush.
the last year. Yeah, the last year of Bush, I think.
So is that Clinton? Clinton took office in.
I think he
after
did
that?
take, yes.
I was super young. Colby is nodding. Yes, I do remember those days. But okay, so interesting. So interest rates could stand to go down. So this is great news if you are a buyer, right? Because that means that you can take advantage of lower interest rates right now. Here's another thing that typically happens prior to an election is that there is a seasonal drop in home sales, always in October and November. Typically, it's about 9.8%. What we see happen just prior to an election cycle is the drop in home sales is about 15%. So it's a little bit greater. So what that means is not as many buyers are buying. We also know that in June, we had a record number of buyers canceling purchase contracts. I think 15% of all purchase contracts were canceled in June.
And we saw several deals fall apart right at the end because of the financing.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is great news if you're a buyer. What this means is that sellers aren't getting as much activity on their homes. Maybe you can get a better interest rate. Maybe you can get a better deal.
Yep.
But here's what I think we really should be educating everybody that is considering making a move is that home sales went up in 9 of the last U.S. presidential elections. The year after the election, home sales went up.
Boom.
So, and I've got some charts. We can have Colby put them on the screen. But what's super crazy is that after the election, home sales go up. Here's what else happens. After the election, home prices go up. In 7 of the 8 U.S. presidential elections in the past, home prices went up the year following the election. So if you're a buyer right now, or if you are working with a buyer, you're a real estate agent, you're working with a buyer, and you're just wondering how you can motivate them to make that move now, if they're able to, it may be a great
There's your
idea.
stats.
There's less competition. They're probably going to have a better interest rate. And if they wait until next year, guess what's going to happen? More competition. They're going to pay more for a home. And also, check this out, new home prices also typically go up the year following an election cycle. So all of this data points to what you mentioned, Elliot, history repeats itself.
Yep.
Prices are likely going to go up. I know. Can you even imagine?
No.
I know prices. I'm like, man, prices going up. Because that was another article, real quick, just kind of throwing in something that we had for the show, is that luxury prices have basically spiked up 9% at an all-time high. So across the board, luxury homes are the most expensive that they've ever been. They've had a 9% hike over, I don't know what duration of time, but recent time, right? So, which is wild. And I actually have to admit, right, there's just homes that you look at, for me personally, you'd be perusing and you'll look at things at $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million. I'm just like, man.
Well, that's the biggest thing is the houses that weren't luxury moved into the luxury category.
Price wise. I know we talked about that a few shows ago, right? What was that? What was your quote? I always wanted to live in $1 million home. I just didn't know it would be the one that I lived in.
Luxury. What is the definition of luxury? Is it a price?
Is it $1 million? That is a good question.
I feel like $2 million is the new million, right? You almost have to move into that $2 million mark now to get a popping off house. Depending on where you're at in the country, right? Because if you're in Cali, you're getting a starter home for $2 million, right? In Palo Alto.
Yeah, but that's really not luxury. I think
no, it's not luxury at all.
Is 10-foot ceilings minimum, right? Large kitchens, industrial size appliances.
Yes. 4,000 square
steam
feet,
rooms,
custom
gyms.
windows and doors, that sort of stuff.
All
but
the
then
things.
you have $1 million house. It's just a basic house,
Dude.
8-foot ceilings, little windows, and
Like I said,
small little kitchen. That's not luxury.
Here in the
got a
Phoenix
luxury
Metro,
price.
yeah, $1 million is just a nice track home. That's all it is now.
Well, you know what else goes up after a presidential election is Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bitcoin. So
Yeah, well, the
there was-
Bitcoin conference just went down.
Yes,
Yeah.
and one of our
Two one previous president and one president-elect
Nominee.
or nominee. Yeah, well, I guess RFK is not a nomination. Is he a nominee?
He's running for
he is.
president.
He's still in it.
Yeah,
he's
just
the independent.
independent.
Yeah,
He's
he's
the
independent.
independent party.
Independent nominee.
Yes,
So-
independent nominee.
And did you guys watch them?
Did you?
I
you-
did.
I have not.
I didn't watch the full
So this-
speeches, but I've seen.
I'll
yeah.
go over what the 4 executive orders that RFK
Perfect.
said. I mean, this is
Okay,
amazing.
can we just RFK is just pulling stuff out of
Oh.
his what because he knows he won't ever have to deliver on it. But yes, read them.
Well, I'm a huge
Humorous.
Bitcoin guy, and so
Humorous.
if he could actually win, I would totally vote for him. But he
I'm
said
an
he's gonna
RFK fan,
sign
too.
He's going to sign an executive order directing the U.S. Treasury to purchase 550 Bitcoin daily until the U.S. has a built reserve of at least 4 million Bitcoin, which is like,
It
that's
would help
that's like
solve our
25% of all the
Bitcoin
all
supply.
Bitcoin.
supply. Yeah, and then he's going to sign an executive order directing the DOJ and U.S. Marshals to transfer the approximately 200,000 Bitcoin that's already held by the U.S. government to the U.S. Treasury will be held as a strategic asset.
Yep.
And then he'll sign also an executive order directing the IRS to issue public guidelines that all transactions between Bitcoin and the U.S. dollar are unreported transactions,
Whoa.
and by extension non-taxable. So you could move your Bitcoin back to your dollars,
back and forth and have it
back
not
to
be
Bitcoin,
taxed.
back to dollars.
That'd be dope.
Because right now you're paying like
Yes.
what's it like 25%
gains?
or something like that. Capital gains on Bitcoin. You buy Bitcoin, you sell it, you get taxed. And then lastly, I'll sign executive order directing the IRS to treat Bitcoin as an eligible asset for 1031 exchanges into real property. So
Ooh,
you're
that'd be
able to,
dope.
move your
Kind of like a
Bitcoin
Roth,
into-
like you could do with Roths.
Borderline the new gold standard for
Yeah.
Yes.
when our U.S. dollar is actually backed by a real asset.
Well, so even and then Trump came out and basically said that he would move the 220,000 Bitcoin into the Treasury and never sell it. And within a day, the U.S. government took $2 billion of their Bitcoin and moved it into another wallet. So now people are speculating that they're trying to screw Trump by start selling the Bitcoin. And so it's in this other wallet now. People can see that that's transferred to another wallet, and they might be selling it.
So it didn't. Okay, so which is an interesting thought, but one of the speeches that I enjoyed from the Bitcoin conference was Michael Saylor. I love listening to that guy.
I need to watch that one. I haven't seen it.
Oh, he's brilliant.
He's literally a rocket scientist.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And so listening to him is extremely
MIT
inspiring.
grad.
And one of the things he talks about is the first nation to really go, all in on Bitcoin is going to be the dominant superpower
Yeah,
in the world.
the nation that prints their own currency
Yes.
and buys Bitcoin with it.
Exactly. And so, the U.S. government has a tremendous opportunity right now to be that. It'll be interesting to see if they do it. But one of the things that I found wild was last month, Germany sold
50,000 Bitcoin. Yep.
50,000
Well, wasn't
Bitcoin.
that from that guy that they busted and took it and then
Yes.
sold it off?
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
from a
that
crime.
caused a massive dip.
It's from a crime.
But they're going to
Yeah.
look back on that and they will, yes, it'll
Yeah.
be
Well, I love
insane.
it, right? Like the RFK and Trump both spoke to it, right? Like, I mean, we got what? I looked it up the other day, and I think we basically have like a $35 trillion deficit.
It just
It
crossed
just
over.
crossed 35.
Okay.
35 trillion. Yeah.
So let's just 30 for commentary here, $35 trillion of deficit. If we could do that, right, with some of the runs and things that could happen, you're talking about actually something that could help truly solve this country's, or at least slow the deficit and help solve it, right? So like our kids are not slave to the decisions that we've made for these last.
Yeah, let's face it. The
Decade.
debt's not getting paid. We're never gonna.
Yeah,
pay
well,
that
we'll
debt.
just go to war.
Yeah,
That's what we'll do. We'll just go to war.
it's cheaper.
That's usually what. You're right. That's what happens.
So, all right, a lot happening. Definitely all over the place today with our topics of
sorry
discussion.
about that. I think I'm the Bitcoin.
That's all right. We didn't talk about the Olympics at all.
No, I love
Olympics
it.
are out and running.
Well, I think what we really should be talking about is the Zoolympics. So if you're
Zoolympics.
following along Instagram, if you're following Zoodealio on Instagram or on YouTube, you know that we are having the Zoolympics at Zoodealio. And can I just brag for a moment? Because I won the gold medal for the 200-meter type race.
The sprint.
I came in third, and there was only 3 people.
So you
Spark
got
of fingers.
bronze.
I thought I could bring my gamer days back, but it didn't work out for me.
Man, our Zoolympic administrator should have been very clear on the rules. I didn't there was I'm gonna have to double down on this stuff like the paper airplane toss, the shot put airplane toss. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
so.
Tomorrow we have office chair curling.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? That'll be
And
fun.
Wii tennis.
And Wii tennis, yes.
The Wii tennis.
So stay tuned to see who wins the gold for the Zoolympics. And I thought we would end today with this because I feel like it's applicable to real estate. So there was a poll done on the 7 most envied careers. So check this out. A luxury real estate agent was number 4 of the most envied careers.
Wow.
So people, it's probably all
Thanks,
of the
HGTV.
Bravo, all
or
these
Bravo.
shows.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
New York, all that.
I mean,
Yeah.
and if you can,
I mean, it's not a bad job. You're gonna go.
No.
You walk around super ritzy houses.
It's
all the time.
amazing.
Yeah.
if
it
you're
really
if
is.
you're Ryan
dialed
Serhan
in.
or
Yeah.
who's the big tall guy, like one of the first.
Josh Altman.
No, Josh Altman, but he was in New York, tall guy, good looking.
Oh,
dude.
Edward.
Yeah, Edward.
Ed Lundy or something.
Yes,
something
yes,
like
that guy. Yeah, if you could
No, Frederick.
Frederick.
That's it. Frederick.
Why did I think?
Eklund, yeah.
whatever,
Anyway,
but-
those guys, yeah. I mean, first of all, what they've been able to achieve, they make it look easy, and I mean, they beyond smash it, and they're awesome at what they do. So, if
Well,
you
I
can
think
achieve it, fantastic.
the show
But it's
definitely helped
literally
them
the
out.
1% of the 1% that are
Yeah.
able to achieve that.
Sure is, but definitely I get it because it's a pretty cool gig if you've got it. Vineyard winemaker was number 5. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Wow, really?
Well, could you imagine how cool that would be to buy a vineyard and make your own wine?
I've known a couple people that own vineyards, not big, like where they were super rich. But yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, we met a
That's
couple out in, was it Sonoma?
Yeah,
And he was a tech entrepreneur.
Yep.
He retired or sold his company for hundreds of millions of dollars, something like that, and they bought a vineyard.
went and bought a vineyard.
Now he's doing
Wine
tastings with people, and we got to meet him
He opened the champagne bottle with the sword.
With the sword.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
It's like Elliot wants to be able to do
Hell
that.
yeah, dude. That whole Sonoma Valley, that's one of those things. If you haven't ever done it, even just driving through that, the part where the trees go over the road and stuff, it's so cool, dude.
Didn't we almost have an opportunity to purchase a
Yeah,
property out there? But I don't remember why it didn't work out. But
Didn't come together. Yeah, that
There was
would've been
5
bad.
owners or something like that, and one of them didn't want to do it.
That'd be cool. We'd be taking a little trip on that one.
Yeah.
We need a site survey.
Yes.
We're taking an office road trip, field trip, do a wine tasting.
Love it. Love it. Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are enjoying this content, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get updated with new episodes.